Welcome back to the Gun Collective Podcast. My name is John Patton. As is tradition here on the Gun Collective Podcast, I've got an amazing guest. It's the way it is. You know, I can't stop having great guests. Just not going to do it. Kiss my ass. It's not happening. First, I'm going to get into our sponsors, as is also tradition. Go to camarado.com/TGC. It's CAMORADO. Get yourself some of the Sea Smoke color because it is the best one. And I happen to have the creator of said camo on the show tonight. Sean, which color should they get?
If they're listening to this, clearly Sea Smoke.
Okay. Sean is also a fan. I love it. I was wearing it earlier today. Sea Smoke is the shit. There's also a whole bunch of other ones. Go check it out, CAMORADO.com, and use the code TGC. Also go to Vertex, it's VERTX.com, and the same code applies, TGC. It's wonderful how that works, right? Get yourself a bag. You really just need to get one of these bags. I use the Ready Pack. Sean, you've got a couple Vertex bags. I think you've got a Ready Pack and a bunch of other shit.
That's the one that Mr. Guns and Gear and I are always rolling around with, right? The M81 God's Blood. Yeah, love that thing.
The Ready Pack is like the closest to like a normal backpack, but it also has stuff for your EDC tucked away nicely and a spot for armor. They've also got the RLT, the Road Less Traveled series that just came out. Go check that out. The code is TGC over at VERTX.com. My guest is Sean Heron. Sean, how are you, man?
I'm good. Did you have somebody else coming on? Because you were talking about good guests, but I'm the only one here so far, so I'm a little nervous.
Camarade dude is your tagline?
It is now.
For context, for those that do not know, Sean and I are very close friends, and it is one of our favorite things to do is to just talk shit to each other. So strap in and get used to this. I've been trying to figure out if Sean and I can do a podcast together. Do you think that's possible? Like, you know, you've got 80 bajillion fucking things going on at all times.
Yeah, it is a lot.
I think it would be awesome. What's the thing you're working on this week? Like, what do you have yourself getting into?
Let's see. This week is like the tech week from hell, but right now I am working to get apps launched in the Apple Store and the Android Store for my social network.
Your social network?
Yeah, I launched a social network.
I thought it was our social network. We're communists now.
Perfect. Yes.
I'm gonna. What was it? The Winkle brothers or whatever the fuck they are.
Winkelstein or something.
Yeah. Whatever the fuck name.
Don't zuck my Winkelstein, bro.
Oh, I'm totally in for that. What is this thing? Is this related to FRN?
Kind of, yeah. So we get just buried on all the social media platforms. Like X is a little better, but I just kind of wanted something for Firearms Radio Network listeners and hosts and, you know, just like freedom-minded people to not really have to worry about like having an opinion, you know, like a place where we can actually talk about, you know, freedom and just, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, of course, there's going to be rules and things like that. Like, don't threaten to overthrow the government, you know, stuff like that. But like, if you want to talk,
I was just about to ask if I could put that on there.
No, probably not. Probably not. But you know, like there's if you put it on a public website, you're dumb anyway. So, but yeah, I just wanted a place where we could kind of hang. So I had this bright idea, and I hired some app developers, and so Apple so far has rejected our app 4 times, but we keep working through it. So
why are they rejecting it? What's the reasoning?
It feels very petty and made up. So this developer's never had a rejection before. But I have a feeling it's because of like the content and the topic. And I'll be 100% honest. Like most of it is just us posting the awesome food that we make and like, you know, homesteading stuff and, you know, communication, comms, radios, things like that. And, you know, so it is freedom based and the name has free in it. So it's a challenge, but I was smart this time and I hired somebody to actually publish the app for me, make the app and publish it. so that's not really my problem. That's his problem. If he doesn't get it published, he doesn't get paid. So
That's good.
yeah, so he's working on it. I think we're getting close. I think hopefully anytime, like literally any moment now, I should get an email that's like, fifth rejection, or they finally had no more reason to reject us.
Well, I guess you'll just have to come back on when you launch.
Yeah, I will. It's out there. People can go there now. I don't ever expect it to be like a big, huge thing. It's just a place where, we can hang with the bros.
So since it's out there, what's the website? How do people get there?
It's called Dang Free, and it's a dangfree.net. There are no phone apps yet, but hopefully soon. But you can use it in a browser. Dangfree.net is the website. And I ultimately plan to connect that to Firearms Radio Network and just kind of like have this big thing where people can listen to podcasts, and every good podcast like this one, and just, shoot the breeze and hang out with like-minded individuals and not have to worry about like watching everything you say.
Why do most gun podcasts suck, Sean?
Most gun podcasts suck because they treat it as if it were a chat.
What do you mean? But what, like, I know what this is because I've been around forever. I understand what a chat is. Can you explain for the people that may not understand the context of that?
Yeah. So a chat is when you and I talk on the phone and we're just shooting the breeze and we're talking about, whatever interests us. Like, what have you been up to? Like, how's everything going with this? How's everything going with that? Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? And there's some pauses, and like we're both doing stuff while we're talking, and that's a chat, right? Like, that's pretty cool, but I don't think anybody's really interested in hearing that. And so many people treat their podcast like it's a chat when they should treat their podcast as if it's a show, right? Because like you should have maybe segments, you should have topics that you want to cover, and you can let the conversation range free. I think you can really let it flow and have fun and have it be organic and natural. But I think at some point you have to really treat it like, hey, this is a production. This is not me talking to my bro on the phone. This is me talking to my bro on the Tonight Show. That's kind of how I feel. And I think that so many people treat it as if it's a phone call or a video chat. And I think more people should treat it as if it's a production. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to get crazy. That doesn't mean you have to have like the backgrounds we do and the equipment that we do. I just truly think that people should take it a little more seriously, right? Because listeners probably don't want to hear a phone conversation. That's boring. But they probably do want to hear, a production. They want to hear a show. They want to be entertained.
So I'm not sure that I understand how one gets into that mentality of just being in this like rut. I mean, it used to be because that's how it operated on YouTube. Like back in the day, you always called out the people that were watching. You always had like, there was this weird social obligation to do it. And I guess some people never left that behind.
Yeah. Well, and we do that. We like our audience that watches live. I mean, so we get 98% of our traffic and 99% of our traffic is audio downloads later. And maybe 1% of our traffic is people watching live. But we at 100%, talk about the people on there, because I don't read every comment, and I'm not like, hey, the watcher, thank you so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate you being here, because oh my God, nobody wants to hear that. I think that if someone says something like the watcher in the chat right now said, hey, checking in from Sean's mom's house.
Very funny.
That's funny, right? Like, that adds something to this production. That adds something to this show. It is no longer a phone conversation between two buddies. It is now a show.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think the whole world is just rushing to make a podcast, and it feels very disingenuous. Like, these conversations are just absolute nonsense most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the crazy things is people will decide, hey, I want to do a podcast. Hey, I am very interested in this thing, and I would like to talk about this thing. And that is awesome. And that is what podcasting is really about. However, if you are just interested in this thing and you're not like bonkers passionate about this thing, then it's probably going to show through, and it's just going to be really boring. Like I think you just said, Whereas if you're like passionate about something, and on my podcast, we are passionate about busting each other's balls. Like, we are passionate about giving each other crap. We're passionate about guns and shooting and everything else that's out there. And whatever we're passionate about, we talk about on the show. And I think that if you're passionate about something, then you'll be entertaining. I watch YouTube videos of things that I don't give a crap about because the people that I'm watching are passionate about it. And I think that storytelling is another big part of it. Like, you have to tell a story. I think I've talked about this before, but storytelling is the most important thing. I want to be told stories. That's what I find interesting. I might learn something, I might be entertained, whatever it happens to be. And you don't have to make it like manufactured and fake and false and everything. You can tell a story just of life. And, when we first started this podcast, we were just getting into guns. And the overarching story is the journey of us from now to then, 11 years later. And
Has it really been 11 years?
yeah,
Dear God.
most of us have married, divorced, bought businesses, closed businesses, became instructors, became medical instructors, like picked up long range shooting. And we were passionate about every single one of those things. And it's like the X-File. There's like the monster of the week and then the overarching smoking man. Our smoking man is, just where we are now from where we began. And our monster of the week is, the Springfield Echelon or whatever it happens to be. That's what we talk about. And we're passionate because we're bros talking about cool stuff and fun stuff and, just having fun. And I think people pick up on us having fun. And I think that's what people like. I think that's what makes something entertaining to listen to.
Also the shit talking.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That's a huge part of it. I, without question, try not to ever shut that down because that is the show.
I mean, half the time when I'm on that show, and for reference, we're talking about We Like Shooting. When I'm on that show, that's pretty much all I do is just interrupt and talk shit.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
So we talked about Camerado at the opening of the show, and I've been putting it as a sponsor thing for I don't know how long at this point. But this camouflage is one of your many side quests that you're on.
Yeah.
Explain that shit, because I don't think anybody expected you to do a camo.
This is one that I didn't expect either. So being in the gun industry, everything's tactical as hell. The gun industry is driven by a lot of veterans, military veterans, law enforcement, things like that, because obviously they're using firearms in the course of their day-to-day jobs. And then when, you're 17 years old and you've been playing Call of Duty for your whole life, like you look at those things and they're pretty cool. So I also fall into that 100%. I LARP with the best of them. But since I was never in the military, never law enforcement or anything like that, I kind of felt like I was, cheating. And so
I heard you were a Navy SEAL.
A gravy seal, maybe. I put on the camouflage and I've got tons of camo gear. And I was just like, this is cool, but like maybe I'll mess around. And so I messed around and created a camouflage. And I was like, this is the camo that I'm going to wear. I had one color and ordered some clothes from overseas and got them in, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I dig this. This is what I'm going to wear. I think this will be a lot of fun. And then I went to the airport wearing my windbreaker and got stopped multiple times asking, hey, love that jacket. Where'd you get it? And I was like, it's a camo pattern that I made, but it's just for me. You can't have it. And they were like, man, I wish, because I love that. I would totally buy it. And so when I got home from that trip, I was like, well, it might be fun to take everything that I've learned over the last 12 years, podcast for 11, everything else for 12 or 13 now, and take that social media, marketing, productization, e-commerce, email marketing, and just like take everything that I've learned and try to launch this brand or this product. And so that's what I did. So I just kind of like launched a website. That's what I did forever before I started doing this. And it kind of took off and like became a little bit more popular than I thought it would, and has continued to grow. and continue to like, I just kind of see it in the wild now, and it's kind of cool. And like,
Seriously? That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. At events that we go to and stuff. But it's just one of those things that I made it for me, and then some other people liked it, and I thought, well, maybe that's cool. Maybe I'll see if this is something that I can, just kind of experiment with and see if I've learned anything in the last decade.
How many colors do you have now? Like, I don't know. Are they colorways? Like, what do you call them?
I call them colorways. I don't know what the actual correct term is. I know nothing about fashion or
Because it's
anything
all the
like that.
same pattern, right?
Yeah, it's all the exact same pattern.
You know how I know Sean's a pro? Because he just muted himself while he was coughing. I watched that happen. I was like, oh, look at this guy.
Yep. I
The
tried
dump
to.
button.
I
Okay,
tried to
so
be a pro, but yeah, I had 13 colorways, so it's all the exact same pattern. I created the first pattern, and I was like, okay, so basically, I took all of my outside pictures of Colorado, and I fed them into AI, and I was like, okay, your job, AI, is to take colors from these pictures that I upload, and I want you to generate a color palette for me. And so it generated a color palette. That's what I made the first pattern, which I call Warden now, out of. And I think that one's still my favorite overall because it was kind of the original, but I have simplified and made it a little bit easier for me to launch colorways now. And yeah, I think like 13 different colorways. Some of them are camouflage, some of them are fashion, but they both look cool in every scenario. And that was kind of my goal.
what do you call the neon one? Is that Tutti Frutti? Is it
I've got a couple. I've got one called Radical that's colors from, the skating rink carpet back in the day, that splatter color that everyone loves. And then with Clover Tack, geez, sorry, totally just drew a blank, with Chris over there at Clover Tack, I did a collaboration with him, and that was called Tutti Frutti.
Tutti Frutti? That's what it was. Okay. And that's part of you said 13?
Yeah, 13, maybe actually more now. It might be 15 because I just did a purple version for Domestic Violence Month in October, and I also did a pink version called High Garden and Nightshade, respectively. And the pink version is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, also October. And a portion of those proceeds for both the sales go to support organizations that don't support breast cancer, but fight breast cancer and fight. They go to companies and corporations that support domestic violence.
Beat your wife.
Kamala's husband's punching air right now.
Oh, dude, which husband?
The one that just got busted for like beating his ex-girlfriend.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, like it's come to light recently that like and multiple witnesses that his ex-girlfriend, that he roughed her up a bit in public.
Oh, that's the guy I didn't know that was Kamala's husband.
Yeah.
I kept seeing all this stuff. I'm like, who is this guy? Why do I care?
Yeah, I pay very little attention to the news. However, I pay a lot of attention to the memes. And yeah, I've been seeing that meme a lot.
I love the fact that she is a colossal moron.
It's weird.
It's strange how she just cannot answer a question.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pretend like Donald Trump is any better at answering questions directly because he sucks at it too. But wow. What was the line? What has been unburdened?
We're unburdened by what has been, or something. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't. It's
Something like that.
confusing to try and repeat.
Right. And look, I don't claim to be some bastion of verisimilitude, or I don't even know what that word is. I don't even know what that means.
Clearly.
My example and my point is, if I wanted to listen to a moron, I would listen to myself.
That's not nice.
It's true.
What's like you're busy as all fucking hell with 80 million different projects, trying to automate a bunch of stuff, trying to improve your life, make your life easier. What's your biggest struggle right now?
My biggest struggle right now. My biggest struggle is.
And you can't say time.
No, it's
easy.
Not actually time. So between me and my assistant, which assistant's like not even an appropriate term for her. She's like basically my consigliere. Uh, but between her and I, we do the work of about 9 people. And the
That's
reason
true.
that we can do that is because I spent the last year like automating. Um, AI was kind of always the missing link in automation because I could automate everything with code. I was a software engineer for 25 years before I started doing this. I can automate everything, but with AI, I could automate it and make it actually make sense and sound as if it's not automated. So the last year I've spent a ton of time automating stuff. And as such, like I'm able to now do more than I ever have. And I truly think that her and I, between the two of us, do the work of about 9 people. So my biggest challenge now is stepping away from my desk now that I've got all this and getting to the range and filming more. And that's a mental block more than anything else. I battle imposter syndrome really, really fundamentally bad. And right now, my biggest challenge is leaving the comfort of the desk and the computer and the code and getting out there and actually creating more content because we like shooting the podcast is my full-time job. Everything else kind of enhances and supports that. But I also have these aspirations of reviews and things like that. And my biggest challenge is stepping outside my comfort zone to do those things.
Why is that outside your I mean, like, in my mind, that is something that you're very good at, so where do you struggle? You know, like, because I see you do it. I've been there on the range with you.
Yeah.
I don't see the hard part for
Yeah.
you.
It's just, yeah, like I said, imposter syndrome. It's irrational and doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
but I'm just trying to be emotionally and intellectually honest here. Like that is my challenge is to conquer that imposter syndrome and do the thing that I really do feel like I'm really good at, but I have so much insecurity about.
I mean,
And
I totally understand that.
yeah, I think most of us do. Like it's really tough to listen to people on YouTube talking about this thing that we put like literally hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars into.
I mean, I really struggle, like, especially I've been talking to people all day about GunCon, and it's really strange to me that no one has done what I'm doing before. You
Yeah,
know, like, at least in terms of, like, a solo kind of role, like, there hasn't been, like, one dude, and thankfully, I have Cody, from Brownells, who has helped tremendously make, especially this last year, work. But, like, in terms of, like, a company, GunCon, I handle mm, a huge portion of it. And when I see these other events going on, they've got teams of like 10, 15 people. I'm like, the fuck are all these people doing?
right. Well, it's a really good question.
But it feels weird because I feel like when I see that, I'm like, what am I missing? Why am I not doing? You know what I mean? Like, how did I screw this up to be whatever? But um, you said you're doing the work of 9 people. What does 10 mean to you? Like, what is that extra person going to do? In theory, in this sort of envelope of what you've created, what would a 10th person allow you to do?
Mm. I mean, my 10th person, I think, probably is my wife who does all my video editing these days.
Well, she's already there.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't, I think that hiring somebody to handle things, see, I'm a really good inventor and implementer. I'm a very terrible administrator and upkeeper.
Mm.
So what I had to do is find somebody who was really good at those things, and then I can invent and launch and implement things. And then this other person, detail oriented, not me, can 100% keep those things actually running. That's the challenge. So I think that hiring is important in that aspect. I don't believe that throwing more bodies at this helps because I am a blocking factor in most of this.
Mm.
And I don't think that throwing more resources helps the issue. I just think continuing to automate dumb, boring processes and let us actually focus on the things that humans are really good at, creativity and things that require critical thinking and logic and stuff like that.
I think about what you've got going on all the time. And I often wonder, what, like, I do that self-reflection that you're doing of like, am I screwing up by not automating everything like you have? And I just start to spiral. And I
Yeah.
think you and I have very similar personalities in that
Right.
way of like, oh shit, I see other guy doing X that is successful. I need to do X too. like like I feel like there's this pressure as a content creator to look at this. My screen is just thanks, Apple, just creating stuff. I went like this, I think, and it just I don't know.
It's
Anyway,
doing good.
I feel like there's a pressure to be everything, to be a podcaster, to be a good presenter, to be a good shooter, to be a good editor, a good videographer. You've got to have merch. You've got to have a website. You've got to have all this social media clout. And on top of that, probably a bunch of other shit that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Where do you think that you are the best? Because you said you
Um,
told me where you struggle, but where are you the best?
I am the best at creating. I'm the best at taking something from ideation to reality. Like taking the idea that I have and then somehow on the other end of that ending up with something that's functional. And like all those different skills that you just mentioned, like I am good at taking something and making it real, but then after that, I'm a freaking disaster.
Why? What do you mean you're a disaster? Like
Yeah, like
in what
I just
context?
I don't have the interest to manage things. I have the interest of like to me like a sculptor, the lump of raw clay that becomes the pot or the statue or whatever it happens to be. But then I don't want to run the museum. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I want to create. I don't want to administrate.
So, I mean, what does that mean for your review YouTube channel? Is that not something that actually? So, like, you're saying this, and it sounds like you want to make videos but not manage the videos. Is that
Oh
is
no,
that
no,
what
no.
you're feeling?
To me, the videos is like the ultimate creation. To me, like these videos, like it is the culmination of every skill I've learned over the last God knows how many years. So it is the ultimate creation. With We Like Shooting the podcast, like that now is just on rails. Like we can do it without even thinking about it.
Right.
And I get really excited about the video stuff because to me that's like the ultimate creation because it's not just audio quality, it's not just making sure we have news to talk about, segments to talk about, products that we test and use and talk about. Now it's creating the content, using critical thinking to review the gun, video production, um, audio production, editing. It's like taking everything that I think I'm pretty good at and putting it all together in one thing. So in my opinion, these reviews that I do are like the ultimate in creation. Some of the administrative stuff, like uploading it and putting in the description and stuff like that, I'm not great at, but that's why I hired somebody who is great at that stuff.
Honestly, that's to me, that's one of the easiest parts of it because it doesn't matter. Like the description doesn't matter.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
the grand scheme of what makes a video perform well, that is low on the totem pole.
non-existent. However, I will say that like it's also very important to me. People watch our video reviews. In my opinion, they watch them because they've either bought the gun or they're thinking about buying the gun and they want to see how cool that gun can actually be. So in addition to our description and things like that, we have a web page that literally takes screenshots of all the different products in the video and has links or affiliate links or whatever to all those things. And that's stuff that I am great at creating and like
Mm.
creating a mechanism in which to do that. But I don't really want to do it because it's monotonous.
Yeah, it is.
But like I found somebody who is so good at that stuff and so detail oriented that just literally knocks it out of the park. So it's like it's good, good teammate.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, I see so for context, we're talking about Dangerous Freedom, which is Sean's YouTube channel, which is separate from We Like Shooting.
Mhm.
and it's some of the best gun reviews I've seen in years. Like fucking like so many garbage ass review videos being put out all the time, and by arguably great people. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
everybody's a shitbird, but from what I want to see out of a review, Sean's putting out some really incredible stuff, and I think we all just need to verbally assault him until he's more consistent about it, so that the channel keeps growing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the views that I get, it tells me I'm on the right track. And I spend a lot of time thinking about, thumbnails and titles and stuff that shouldn't matter, but stuff that does matter. And
Right.
spend a lot of time about, like, how do I write this in a way that, releases oxytocin when somebody watches it? All that stuff. Like, I love dialing down on the just serious the things that are really hard to solve and trying to figure out a way to solve them. But yeah,
It's like a game.
I love it. It is. It is. It shouldn't be, I don't think. But then again, maybe it should be. Maybe that's just the way that it operates best. Maybe if you figure out how to play the game just like anything else, maybe that's how you rise to the top.
Well, I mean, I would argue that Garantham did that with those intros that he was doing forever.
Yeah.
That was a cheat code that he unlocked. He just stumbled onto. I would argue that the way I've been ending a bunch of the videos sporadically, I don't do it consistently on purpose. I would argue that is one of those sort of game moves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The news. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, 100% agree. And that's the thing, is like, you figured out your voice, you figured out how you wanted things, and then very much I learned by doing. So I had to learn what my video voice was. I had to learn how I wanted them to be, how I wanted them edited. And then once I really had mastered that, spent time, dug down, dug deep, and figured those things out, then I can teach somebody else how to do it. And it turns out that my wife is like the most amazing artist. And
she's great.
So good at everything. She literally was able to pick up video editing and find that same voice and then take it one step further. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. So much fun. It's so much like so many small, tiny things.
What do you mean by that?
It's just like all these different things. When I first got started doing this, I just wanted to shoot a pistol well. That was it. I never thought that I would.
You still haven't gotten there.
I'm there. Not according to people on YouTube. Actually, you know what? People don't insult my shooting on YouTube usually.
Oh, dude, I get shit on with my shooting all the time. It's really fun.
It's dumb because you're like a really good shooter. Like I was a pistol instructor for a long time, and not just people like out. I know that, teaching basic pistol doesn't get a lot of respect out there, but I taught military police for a while. And I've seen thousands and thousands of people shoot and taught hundreds and hundreds of people how to shoot. And when I go to these media events, I'm like, most of these people can't shoot at all. And you shoot well. So for people to talk crap on the internet just shows that they're dumb.
Oh, dude, the fucking, what was it? That gold gun that you and I shot together?
Mm-hmm.
It was shooting like minute of fucking pumpkin. I don't know. It was awful, god awful. And people were like, mine shoots great, so you're a bad shot.
Right. No, thank you. If there's one thing that I am pretty confident in, it is my shooting. Like,
yeah. I know. Sean and I, it was one of the first times we were at your range in Colorado, just like fucking around one day. I can't remember what we were doing, but you were like, come here. And we backed off to, I don't know, 100, 150 yards.
Yeah.
And you take a shot with your staccato, ping, first shot. And then you hand it to me. I take, I don't know, 1 or 2 shots, ping. And it's like, oh yeah, the fundamentals do work, and we can actually shoot. It's almost like secondary to like what matters to me. Like, I don't care if I can shoot, really. I care if I can shoot a lot of guns well. Yeah. And I think that's one of the weirdest things about what we generally, like, quote unquote, do. One of the things we do is, like, the people that do talk shit and say that we can't shoot are guys that typically shoot 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 guns. and it's an expectation of our job to shoot all of the guns really well, no matter what.
Yes. Yeah, without question. And here's the thing. If you're on the internet telling somebody that you're better than them, but you have no proof of that, you're a fucking loser. Because I don't believe you. You absolutely are lying. Without question. We've seen it. How many times have we seen it backfire, bringing those dudes that I could do that. I could do that. None of them can fucking do that.
Right.
They're liars. They're dirty liars. And I think
Jim is such a nice guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Garantham, he did the video with the dude that was like, I could do that. That guy couldn't fucking do it either. I literally, talking about that has now unleashed my profanity filter.
I can't wait. Just let her rip, Tater Chip. See,
But
this is the version of Sean that I know.
But yeah, they're just liars. They're just liars, and I give them no creed. I pay them no attention because I know that I've seen people shoot. I've seen them shoot, and I would be willing to bet that every single person that talks shit to you cannot outshoot you at anything. Not just pistol, not rifle, not long range. They can't outshoot you at anything. Period. So if you want to go on the internet and talk shit, back it up. Post a link to your video. Otherwise, you're a dirty fucking liar. You should probably just go back to doing what you're good at, sucking your mom's penis.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The thing that's going through my mind when you're saying all that shit is I have repeatedly told guys, like, you're welcome to make a review of your gun and show me how wrong I am.
Oh, yeah. I literally, I'm like, okay, well, show me a link to your video. Because
I might be wrong. That's totally fucking possible.
Yeah.
But I don't believe the words on the screen. I can't. I just can't.
I'm just like, dude, okay, listen. If I'm going to debate you, if I'm going to talk to you, I need to know who I'm talking to. You have seen me shoot. I deserve to see you shoot. And once we both have an idea of what the other one's skill level is, we can have a reasonable conversation about who's good, who's bad, who's doing right, who's doing it wrong. Until that time comes, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Dave Chappelle, every time.
Yes.
Every time. We actually have a really good comment here from Jayweth. And dude, every time I say his name, I feel like I have I already have a little bit of a lisp. Every time I say his name, it makes me feel worse about myself. So Jayweth says, how much does passion or enthusiasm for a product, or sometimes lack of, affect your creativity and drive to make videos? I think that's a great question, and I'm curious to know what you think, Sean.
I think that you and I will have very different opinions here.
Mm-hmm.
So I love shooting. I know I named the show We Like Shooting, but I actually love it. I'm underselling it.
Why don't you make out with it?
Yeah, I would. I have. I get Garand tongue all the time. But I love shooting and I love guns. So for me, I have the opposite problem. I'm too excited about stuff that I test. And sometimes when I have a really, really fucking horrible product, Daniel Defense H9,
it was so bad.
I get so disappointed because I wanted to love that gun. Like everything in me makes me want to love that gun. And it's so disappointing to have to tell stories of how it failed me in a bunch of different ways. So I get a little too excited about stuff. And I have to really dial that back to be objective. So for me, the enthusiasm is always overbearing and I really have to pull it back so I can apply critical thinking. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about most things. There's like certain components that I'm not so excited about, but most stuff in the gun industry, I'm like stoked about. What are your thoughts?
I think that's accurate, but just by like talking to you all the time, I think that's really accurate. I mean, I think the audience would think that I fucking hate everything. I would just say that I am a difficult customer. I would say that. I would say that I have lots of excitement for really cool shit, but it is not given out easily.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think like we are not opposite necessarily, but we definitely swing the other direction in that aspect, which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons we're good friends, is because we like that gives us some great stuff to talk about.
Well, we often arrive at the same place through different means.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I'm like, oh, this company's putting this thing out. Man, that's so awesome that they did this. This was in their head, and then they made it out of steel. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? That
All
is
right. So what's your impression of what I say?
you're like, hey, you're a fucking loser. I can't believe that you actually got up, got dressed, and this is the bullshit that you made today.
That's pretty close. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm burnout on the gun industry or jaded. I just expect a fuckload more for the amount of money people are charging.
Yeah.
Like I never set out to be the guy that complains about pricing on fucking everything, but holy shit, the arrogance it takes to charge, $3,000 and $4,000 for a pistol these days. That's not that good or not impressive or does the same shit as everybody else. I'm like, Jesus, can we like fix this as an industry? I don't know that we can, but fuck, I want them to.
I think one of the problems that we have to fight constantly in this industry, and especially doing what we do and seeing how many different products that we see, I really think that one of the things that we have to fight is we. Let me start this a different way. I don't want to go to a restaurant where the chef has teardrop tattoos or the cook has teardrop tattoos because I think that their kitchen is amazingly spotless. I go there because that food is the bomb. And that is my favorite stuff. Like that hamburger place we go to here. Like, I don't want to see their kitchen
Yo,
because
that
once I
place
see,
out of
yeah,
control.
once I see like behind the scenes, I will probably never eat there again. I want to go. I want to enjoy that food. I don't want to know how it's made. We have seen how everything's made. We understand like the games that people play in the industry. And when you talk about pricing, unfortunately, like we understand that a company makes X product, not X product. A company makes a product. I don't even want to say their
Different company.
name. They make a product. And in order for them to sell that product, they have to price it so that a wholesaler can sell it to a dealer, can sell it to a customer, can also pay marketing and affiliate. So like that, the price of that product is, here at, just like barely above the bottom. But then when you add the wholesale cost on top of it, the dealer cost on top of that, the affiliate fees that you're going to pay out for people to actually try to sell your product and all these different things, now the price is like skyrocketed. So there's so many hands and so many pots, and the gun industry is one of the worst when it comes to things like that. Like a gun that we're paying $2,000 for, we should not be paying more than $1,400 for.
Oh,
But the
absolutely.
reason that the prices are so dumb is because there's too many hands and because the gun industry is fundamentally broken in the wholesaler and dealer market. I think, and I wish that every company could just sell direct to consumer because we would all get better products at amazing prices because all the bullshit doesn't have to be built in. And I think that we see this so often, so much from every single aspect of the industry that we just become a little bit bitter about it. And so I think that's where your intolerance for prices comes from.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. Uh, I mean, I've had people just attack me because they make, whatever the product is. It happens all the time. Like people get very upset because I share my opinion about the pricing of a given product.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, we made it specially and it's hand this and hand that. And the justification that happens typically from engineer owners
Mhm.
is kind of fascinating. Do you think that in the next 10 years it will still look like this?
Yeah, it'll be worse. I don't know how, but it'll be worse in some way. They'll figure out a way to make it worse. The gun industry is a huge industry, dude. Like, look at those numbers. Like, there's billions of dollars on the line here, and everyone wants a piece of it. And I get it. Like, I want all these companies to be successful because, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm excited about this shit. Like, I love it. I want to see it. Let me give it to me, mainline it directly into my veins because that's what I want. But I know that the system is broken. I see some companies, like one that I work with recently, basically was like, you know what? Fuck this wholesaler dealer bullshit. selling direct to consumer, and I'm dropping the price of our rifle $600 right now.
Who was that?
Mitchell Defense.
Oh,
Yeah.
he cut 600 out of that thing?
Yeah. Off the one, my favorite rifle. Yeah. He was like, you know what? I'm sick of playing these dumbass games.
And that's the one I shot that you brought to
everywhere.
that event.
Yeah. 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 So just dropped it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I definitely need to get one.
Yeah, I want to see more of that, man. It's cool. And that isn't to say that I want wholesalers and dealers to go out of business. I want them to have fun, have good lives, and drive cool cars too. I just, at some point, like, you and I have to be advocates for us when we started this. Everything that I do for who I was when I started this, because I was so confused when I got into guns and I didn't know what to look for. And I had so many bad choices foisted upon me by boomers that I can't even begin to tell you. And everything that I've done ever since is so that to try to do my part so that other people don't have to go through the same shit. So like, I try to be the crusader for who I was, which I think was just a normal everyday dude.
I think wholeheartedly that if we removed the distributor level, the industry would change overnight.
Yeah. I mean,
overnight.
Here's the thing. We remove the distributor level. Ain't nobody going to lower their prices. They're like, oh, now I just get $400 more in profit.
Sure. But that wouldn't be a bad thing if, like, let's say the price from the gun company didn't change and the gun dealer ate up all that extra. That would be amazing overnight, because all those businesses could flourish in a way that they've never been allowed to. And what I mean by that is typically there's 10 to 15%, and 15% is high, of margin on a firearm. So a gun store largely operates on other products being sold, not firearms, which is counterintuitive.
Not firearms, not ammo. There's like no margin. Your local gun store, when you buy a gun from them, they're lucky to make $50.
Right.
And then factor in labor. Do you know how much utilities are for these places? Like,
staggering, I'm sure.
Yeah. So how many guns do you have to sell at $50 a pop to pay the salary of 5 people?
You know what? I've never seen, first of all, it's a shitload. I've never seen a distributor make any effort to sell guns to the public, which is kind of weird. Like, we see all these distributor exclusives, which I think is most of the time terrible. Like, they're not good. It's just like shitty colors that nobody asked for. That's like two sales guys that are buddies came up with this shitty idea and they're just going to sell it to shitty people.
Right.
I would love to see distributors in the gun industry, I don't know, provide some level of effort. Like, you don't ever see them fighting for the Second Amendment. You don't ever see them being publicly vocal about anything, or like pretending that they're part of the gun industry. It's just like this boogeyman that everybody has to deal with. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that speaks to something that's kind of fundamentally like also broken in our industry. Is I do what I do today because of how much I grew to love shooting. When I got my first gun, it was just because I was camping a lot and I live in bear country. And then I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And so everything that I do is because of how much I love guns and shooting. And I am not a big part of the industry. I'm an outlier at best. Like, I'm not trying to claim that I am important in any way, because I'm not. But I do what I do because of how much I love the freedom that we have with the Second Amendment and just shooting guns. Most of the companies that people out there buy guns from, suppressors from, ammunition from, the people that are up top in those companies probably don't even like guns, probably don't even own guns, probably don't shoot guns at all, probably don't give a shit about the Second Amendment. What they give a shit about is spreadsheets and numbers and dollars. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but I like to try to support the companies that really, really fucking love freedom and really, really support the Second Amendment, because like that's where I want my dollars to go. And if you call a company and you're like, hey, like, what's your president of your company's favorite gun? You'll get hung up on. Like, ain't nobody gonna answer that. And it's a problem. Like, people have made it less about freedom and more about profit. And that's why we don't see wholesalers out there fighting for the Second Amendment, because they don't give a fuck.
They really don't.
No.
At least publicly. You know, it's possible that they're pumping money into these 2A groups, these, you know, like a GOA or a Second Amendment Foundation or whatever. It's possible that they're putting money into those, but I just don't think they are. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that they're not.
Yeah, I mean, some of them do, maybe. Like I
I
saw,
haven't seen the numbers, so I don't know.
I see. You know what? I'm trying to think like who I saw at Goals or GunCon.
But
That
they never get involved in shit like that.
no, they don't.
They
They
go
don't.
to SHOT Show and that's kind of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and they go to SHOT Show because money. I
Well,
get
the
it.
NSSF is a big fucking pile of dog shit these days. But I feel like we could spend an hour on how they've gutted the industry through SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Like generally speaking, I think that's probably how they've done it.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing their job exceptionally well because they are the lobbying arm of the gun industry. And they're doing great for the gun industry. But I think there's a little bit of I don't know, Americans that they're not doing a good job for, that they don't really take into consideration. But you know what? Like, I don't want to be told how to do my job, and I'm not sure I should tell them how to do their job. But I kind of wish that maybe they lobbied for us as much as they lobby for the gun industry. Because guess what? If we don't buy guns, gun industry doesn't exist. So
I don't believe that they do lobby for the gun industry though, because if they did, then they would have lobbied in favor of pistol braces, and they didn't do a fucking thing for them. And the same thing goes with FRTs and incomplete frames and all that. Like, they do not take a stand for products that are new. They
oh,
take a stand for who their biggest donors are, and that's fucked.
yeah. The thing is if you take a stand, then someone might make you defend your position. And if you can't defend your position because all you really care about is money, then that could be embarrassing for you. And
Mm.
they probably just don't want to be embarrassed because they have no morals. And that's
Tell me
my
how you really feel.
fucking like Captain Negative over here. By the way, I love the gun industry. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
It's just me rubbing off on. I'm drawing the negativity out of you.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of bullshit in life, and sometimes you just got to talk about the bullshit.
Yeah. So you've got all these projects going on. We talked about what you're really good at. What are you the most excited about in, like, say, the next 12 to 18 months?
Video reviews.
Okay, on Dangerous Freedom.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
Okay.
because, and that isn't to say that I'm not excited about We Like Shooting, because for 11 years now we've been doing the show. I look forward to Monday nights so much because it's just hanging with the boys. You know, like whenever we go to events and we're all just hanging out at the Airbnb, just like literally
Right.
just it's the fellowship. Like that's what We Like Shooting is some of my best friends on this earth that I didn't know when we started the show, but they've become my best friends, and just getting to hang out with them. So like I am excited about that every single week. It's just we are so good at doing it now. I don't want to make it sound like it's professional because it's not. Uh, we are able to put out the same level of garbage we've always put out without a ton of extra effort, and because of like some automation stuff and because of my consigliere, you know, we're good at it. So for me, like I am so excited about this video thing, and you and I have talked about this, but maybe people don't actually know, is We Like Shooting does like incredible numbers. Like we are a very popular podcast, and it's hard for the industry to understand that.
Very hard.
So by doing these videos and getting the numbers that I'm putting up with the videos with a relatively low number of subscribers, like these numbers are easy to sell to the industry, because like I want to make money and I want to make more money and I want people to see value in what I do. And video is a way that I can add to that, that I can enhance and make that a little better for myself. Plus, it's like this creative outlet, and it's just exciting. And yeah, that's my biggest focus, and that's why I spent so much time over the last year doing all these different things, and basically doing the work of 9 people. Is just so I could spend more time doing that. And isn't that the goal of everything? Like, you always want to build your business so that it can support itself, so that you can do more things that you're just passionate and excited about. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I'm excited for you, man.
Thanks.
Like I said, the fucking reviews are great.
Those reviews, without the support of, like, honestly, you, like, wouldn't even be where they are. Because how many hours have we talked on the phone and like went back and forth on all this stuff,
I
like
don't
just
know.
trying to like
Shitloads.
crack the code, like hundreds of hours. It's got to be. And yeah, and I don't know if people also know this, but there's not a lot of support amongst our peers in the industry.
It's
Like,
very
there's
true. It's
so
weirdly true.
really good people. Like, I love a lot of the people. They just, like, they wouldn't piss on our teeth if our gums were on fire. And that's fine. I'm totally down with that. So to have somebody like John Patton from the Gun Collective that like supports
Fuck
me
outta
and pushes these things like that, that's super. It's great, and it's like so great to have, and so great that we have this stuff to bounce off of each other. It's nice.
I feel like it is my job, and I don't know if this is self-induced or whatever. I feel like it's my job to aggressively support all of these creators, and hopefully that means I'll rise up with them.
Yeah. What is that? That's
All
saying?
boats rise in the tide.
Exactly. And here's the thing: is like, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up your ass, but like YouTuber of the week on TGC News, like, is that what it was? YouTuber of the week or
Guntuber of the week.
Guntuber of the week? How many people has that like launched and like?
They're I mean, the guys that are like the giants, um I'm not trying to like I want to make it very clear. I do not claim credit for their totality of success. I
No.
gave them a bump.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grand Thumb, Scott, Kentucky Ballistics. I don't remember if Brandon was he probably was at some point.
Probably.
Tactical Considerations, Toolbox, 1911 Syndicate,
Dangerous Freedom.
Dangerous Freedom was one of them. Johnny. I mean, most, unless like the qualification for that was like if a channel was growing and maybe wasn't where TGC was, it was my opportunity to give a hand up.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, climb up another rung of the ladder. And it's kind of weird because like nobody has picked up that torch and carried it. Like, I stopped doing it because there wasn't a lot of channels left to plug, and I didn't want to keep plugging the same shit every week.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody has really gone and got, like, oh, I'm going to support other creators. I mean, that's part of why GunCon exists, to support, like, create this network of support and sort of open my not Rolodex, because I feel like that's an old guy term at this point, but like open my book, my playbook, and go, look, here's how I built my business. Come build your business. And what's fascinating to me is nobody has even attempted to do something like that, with the exception, and I will give credit where credit is due. Eric and Chad and Brandy and them did their version of that very early on with their shoot.
Yeah.
I got to give them credit for doing that. I think I've just done it slightly differently. Their event is great for what it is. They are part of the reason that I have a fucking career.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make that very fucking clear. Same thing with Tim.
Yeah.
But in large part, the guys that are very, very popular right now have I neglected to pick that torch up, and I see it as important, but it's maybe not as important to them. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. Totally. So yeah, I if I had one wish, it would be that we all supported each other better. And
It's funny because we the community at large, it looks like we're all friends.
Yeah, we all
We're
100%.
all like really good buddies and stuff, but there's being friends with somebody and then there's supporting their business.
Mm-hmm.
And the supporting the business thing does not often spread.
Yeah. It is a weird thing. And I kind of think that it's a lot in, we don't really know how to support each other's businesses.
Agreed. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing.
You know, like we know what we would love listeners and viewers to do because we've studied it, but maybe we spend some time like figuring out how we can all support each other. Because I'll tell you this, if I was watching a Mr. Guns and Gear video and he was like, welcome back to the channel, this is Mr. Guns and Gear. Today we're going to talk about this thing that's really cool. Check out my pectorals. They're also very
That was
cool.
a good impression, by the way.
His voice is a lot deeper and sexier, but if he was doing that and then he was like shooting, talking about this, reading me the stats, like doing all the things, and then he was like, also, my boy John from the Gun Collective is really cool. I'd be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Tell me about this gun. So like maybe that's the thing, you know, maybe it's more difficult to do it and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know. There's got to be some way we could all support each other better.
I mean, I have ideas and plans and all those things, and I've told you about them like offline, but I think that I think we can do a better job.
Yeah. One of the great things about owning the Firearms Radio Network is that, man, it was struggle bus for a lot of years. But it's gotten to the point now where it's less struggle bus. And now, like, I really feel like I can give more people access to audience that I took advantage of and had in the very beginning. And so I almost support these creators and people better on accident. We've brought so many new shows onto the Firearms Radio Network lately. And like, that's exciting to me because, you know, people will sink or they will swim. And it doesn't take us a ton of time to onboard a new show on the network, but it gives them access to an audience from the very beginning. And then their success from that point on is their own, but it allows me to lift them up just kind of like as a byproduct of having the Firearms Radio Network. So that makes me pretty happy.
I mean, I'm pumped about it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's neat seeing some of the newer guys come on board and just bring a different flavor.
Yeah. And I know for a fact that like a bunch of these are going to flame out and we'll end up taking them off the site in a while when they just no longer do the podcast. And that's great. But if I can get like, you know, 1 out of 10 that continues on and like builds this up and does this thing, like how cool is that? That's awesome. The watchers watching, he said, "Let's Go Hunt" podcast got a big bump from FRN. Like, yeah, that's one of those that
is he one of the hosts of that show?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Okay. Which is awesome, right? Because like we have room for a hunting podcast. And so these dudes that like did this thing and they're the guys who took me under their wing and taught me how to hunt. Like they started a podcast and for me to be able to be like, hey, please tell the people about this. It's cool.
That just spirals my brain in the direction of, ooh, I want to go hunting.
Dude, I know. I know. I was talking to another one of the hosts of Let's Go Hunt today, actually. We're going to go duck hunting very soon.
Is that Plow Guy Dave?
No. He's the cool one. I was talking to Mike today, and he brought me wheat from Plow Guy Dave, actually.
Wheat.
Why are you saying what way?
Why are you being weird?
Yeah, so he's bringing me wheat, and we were talking about going duck hunting. It was literally what I was doing right before I got on the show with you.
Okay. Where the fuck do you go duck hunting in Colorado?
Oh, there's over there.
I didn't know you guys had duck. I thought they just avoided that fucking mess.
No, like apparently there's a lot of ducks and a lot of duck hunting here. I
didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until they started doing it on the Let's Go Hunt podcast. And then I was like, oh, dude, the watcher watching right now, like this dude's like trapping beavers and shit. Here in Colorado.
That sounds like a college town thing.
Yeah, he taught me.
Got him.
he taught me that there was crawfish in Colorado. And
What?
the three of us like went out and we did a night vision hike, threw our traps in. I got like 2 5-gallon buckets of crawfish here in Colorado, 30 minutes from my house.
You're shitting me.
No.
East or west?
North.
Oh, okay. Up that way.
Northwest.
Yeah.
Northwest, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you could do it. There's crawfish everywhere in Colorado, apparently. And so the fact that they've taught me all these things and now they can teach them to the audience of the Firearms Radio Network, like, man, that's cool. That's awesome.
Dude, river bugs? That's really interesting.
You give me some mud bugs, I'll suck the brains all day.
And on that note, we're gonna wrap up. Dude, thank you for jumping on tonight. I know you're busy as fuck, so this has been a lot of fun. Is there anything you want to share with the audience before we fucking pull the plug?
No, man, just thank you for caring what we have to say. Thanks for being out there. Thanks for supporting all your freedoms. And if you don't vote, you're a fucking loser and you don't get to complain about the outcome.
Ugh, get wrecked. Okay. Go to Camarado, CAMORADO.com. Get some of the sea smoke. Maybe try out Warden that Sean talked about. Also, I can't remember what the fucking black one is called, but that one's pretty slick too.
Night's Watch.
Ember Storm, I think, is the orange one.
Unexpectedly awesome.
Yeah, that came out really cool.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch. Go buy it and use the code TGC, get yourself a discount, and you support both of us through doing that. Also go to Vertex, VERTX.com, use code TGC, go get yourself a bag, some apparel, some good shit. As always, thank you all for listening, watching. We'll see y'all soon.
Bye.